Oi, gente, boa tarde. Bem-vindos a mais uma live do Guide Your Future, nosso programa semanal para falar sobre estudos no exterior. Meu nome é Gabriela, sou a College Counselor do Colégio Positivo Internacional e hoje a gente vai falar um pouquinho sobre estudar e viver na Inglaterra. Nós vamos receber aqui o Andrew Fleming, que é da Newcastle University, e ele vai contar um pouquinho da universidade, das oportunidades de cursos, de bolsas de estudo, financial aid, e para tirar um pouquinho das dúvidas de vocês a respeito do processo de admissão, tá bom? So, Andrew, please welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hello, thank you for accepting our invitation.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Okay, so you can start your presentation and tell us a little bit more about Newcastle and Newcastle University.
Absolutely, and you can see my screen, yeah?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for all of you joining. I understood a little bit what you said, Gabriela.
You did.
I'm slowly going to learn, I'm starting slowly to learn Portuguese.
Good.
I do speak Spanish. I lived in Mexico for 4 years. So I do speak, I've been on your side of the world. I've not been to Brazil yet. I look forward to visiting you, hopefully next year.
Hopefully you can visit us soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I really hope so. And yes, so I lived in Spain, lived in Mexico. But my hometown is Newcastle, and it was somewhere. In fact, it is exactly 1 year today that I returned home.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly 1 year today I returned home, and I'm really happy to be home. And Newcastle it's a wonderful city. It's somewhere I really miss. It's somewhere that's got a little bit of everything for everyone. And I'm really happy to be able to share my experiences with you and my city and my university. So the formal bit, my name's Andrew Fleming. I'm the International Recruitment Officer for Newcastle University, and I'm based in my hometown here in Newcastle. So first of all, what is it about Newcastle that, why do we have so many students? Why is it such a popular place? First of all, it's a very lively city. There's always things going on. There's always such much to do. I mean, I think this particular picture, there's a lot going on there. Absolutely. There's always things to see and do in Newcastle. It's very friendly as well. So people are very friendly. It's not too big of a city. It's about 350,000 people. So for Brazil, that probably sounds like a tiny little town. But for a city in Newcastle, it's still a decent sized city. And it's very much a student city. So of those 350,000, about 60 to 70,000 are students. So really, Newcastle is run by students. It is, completely taken over by students. And it's become one of the best student cities in the UK and one of the best student cities in the world. And it's very affordable. I don't know if anyone wants to pop in the chat, or Gabriella, if you've been to London before. It's very expensive to visit or live in London. I don't even think the Queen would argue with me there. London is very, very expensive place to live and work. But I wouldn't want you to think that the whole of the UK is like that. Newcastle is in the northeast of England, not too far away from the border with Scotland, and it's one of the most affordable cities in the UK, which is something that students really appreciate, of course. It's a safe and friendly city as well, because it's not too big. Everything's nice and compact. Everything's in walking distance. What I like to say is you get big city vibes from a small city. So you get all the advantages of living in a big city without any of the disadvantages. So yes, we have a Hard Rock Cafe, which I believe is the sort of standard for a good sized city. We have lots of bars, restaurants. There's even a TV show on MTV about the nightlife in Newcastle, about the Geordies. So we are very famous for having loads to see and do, lots of nightlife. We have lots and lots of concerts. I think Dua Lipa is performing this month. The Weekend are performing next year. So we get lots of big acts, lots of big festivals. Football, I know Brazil are quite fond of football. Newcastle United we've had some Brazilian players in the past. We have one now, but he's not very good. But we are a big football city. Our football stadium is literally across the road from St James's Park. Newcastle United, if you follow football, was recently bought and has now become the richest football team in the world, richer than Paris Saint-Germain, richer than Barcelona, richer than Real Madrid. We're not the best team at the moment, but we have the money to buy everyone we want. So hopefully in a few more months, January, when we can buy players, we will buy some really good ones. And, you know, the sky's the limit. We have a lot of money. So that is something. Newcastle is really growing in the football. So you've got loads to see and do. Loads to see and do. But you don't have to, so you've got all the advantages of living in a big city, but you don't have the disadvantages. So you don't need to get the London Underground or the metro everywhere. You could walk because it's a compact city. It feels safe to walk around day and night. You don't need to worry about pollution or anything like that. And it's super compact. Everything's within walking distance. If you were living in London, you could not be able to live in the city centre. You just can't afford it. In Newcastle, the campus is in the city centre, the shops, bars, restaurant, everything's in the city centre, and so is the accommodation. So you walk out of your accommodation and you have all of your favourite bars and restaurants, shops, you've got your football stadium, you've got it all really close by. So I think that's something really worth mentioning. You've got all the advantages of big city, but none of the disadvantages. We're also very close to the beach. So that's something I know a lot of Brazilians will appreciate, is we do have our own coastline. It's possibly not as pretty as Rio de Janeiro, or maybe not as sunny, but it is a very pretty coastline, very historic. We have castles on our beaches, and we have loads and loads of it's northern England, so castles everywhere. It's a very old part of the world, and we are also a dry city. So of course it rains, but I think there's that stereotype that people have is when you go to England, it's always raining. And maybe a lot of romantic comedy movies Hugh Grant movies suggest that it does rain all the time. But actually, in Newcastle, it doesn't rain. It rains less in Rio, in Mexico City, in DC than it does in Newcastle. So I think it's good to challenge that stereotype that we have about British weather. So this is the local area. So we have Grey Street. This is one of our main streets with fantastic Georgian architecture. If you're a fan of tea, you may have heard of Earl Grey. Well, the guy on the top of that monument, that's Earl Grey. He was a Prime Minister of England, and that tea, that mixture of bergamot and black tea, was given to him as a gift. And that's where the name comes from. So that's Earl Grey at the top of that street. Then we have Long Sands Beach. So there you can see our costa is a very picturesque. Got a nice, I don't know, it's different to the beaches you may be used to in Brazil, but it's still very pretty. And in the summer, we do have nice weather, in the late 20s, mid to late 20s, and you can go for a walk in the sea. It is the North Sea, so it'll be a bit cooler than you used to. And in the winter, we get snow on the beach. So that's kind of a unique, you may not be used to snow on your beaches in Brazil. So that's something that's quite special. And we have I can imagine not. And we have our quayside, so our river. We have loads of beautiful bridges along there, including the Millennium Bridge. We have art gallery down there, music theatre. And again, that's walking distance. And Jesmond Dean, which is one of my personal favourites. It's just 10 minutes down the road from me, about 15 minutes from the city centre. Again, lush green. In the winter, when it's covered in snow, it's really special. And in the summer, it's really pretty as well. So everything there is walking distance, apart from the beach. We have a really good metro system. Actually, Prince Charles was visiting our metro today. And it's only 20 minutes away on the metro from the city centre. So everything's really well connected. We're considered the capital of Northeast England, and we're very well connected with the rest of the UK and with the world. So here we are, Newcastle. Now you know where we are. We're in the northeast of England. Now that may look like far away from London, but it's less than an hour's flight to London. The UK is a very historic country with a huge output in terms of education and culture, but geographically, it's not a very big place. You can drive from Newcastle to London in about 5 hours. It's not a very big place. Although there's so much to see and do. We have so many beautiful big cities, but they're all very close to each other. So we have our own international airport. Again, only 350,000 population, but we have our own international airport, and that's linked directly to the metro. So you get off from flying in, and you can get straight into the city centre. We have loads of destinations in Europe, and it's really cheap to fly to Europe from the UK. It can be £40 to fly, so like $50 to fly from Newcastle to Spain, for example. So it's really affordable, and we have a fantastic train line as well, which connects us with the rest of the UK. So you can get up to Edinburgh. It's about an hour and a half to Edinburgh, and about 2.5 to 3 hours to London. So we're really well connected, and I encourage you to go get on the train and visit the rest of the UK, because it's a great place. And it's great that you can go down to London and visit London and see the Queen, do whatever it is you want to do there. Go to the Harry Potter shop. But living there is a different story. The rent and everything else, not being able to live in the city centre, very expensive. And then because you wouldn't be in the city centre, you'd be constantly getting the metro everywhere, whereas Newcastle, you just walk. Everything's in walking distance, apart from the beach, but that's only 20 minutes on our wonderful metro system. So our campus, as I mentioned, is right in the city centre. It's very historic, red brick campus, very traditional. And as you can see, I wasn't lying. If you look to the building on the left, you can just see the football stadium behind it. So we really are right next to the football stadium. That red building there is our students' union. So in there, we have bars, a restaurant, coffee shops, Domino's Pizza, Chinese, a nightclub. It's concert venue. So we have DJs and rock bands and everything performing at our in our students' union. So there's a lot going on there. And the campus is very pretty, very green. If you're interested in architecture, for example, the building with the red leaves, that's our architecture school. We also have a foundation provider. So say if you didn't quite get the IB score, or you didn't take all the hires that you needed, you can take a foundation. Our foundation providers called Into, and they are on our campus. So you wouldn't feel like apart from everything. Everything's sort of on campus. So that was the old part of the campus, the very historic red brick. We've had Martin Luther King visitors. He got an honorary doctorate from the university and gave a speech on our campus. That's the old part. We've also invested a lot of money with the local government to expand another part of the city, which is only 10-minute walk from that campus. And that's our modern campus, where we have our School of Urban Sciences, for example, where we do data science. On the right, you have our business school as well. So we have the historic, and we also have the modern. Just to give you an idea, I think I've talked plenty, but I want you to be able to now physically see what Newcastle looks like. So as you can see, there's loads to see, loads going on, but it's nice and compact. Everything's within walking distance. And yes, the Tyne Bridge was designed by the same person that designed the Sydney Harbour Bridge. So it looks identical, just a little bit shorter. But yeah, we are famous for our river. That river is called the River Tyne, and it's very frequently used by boats. The Romans used it as a fortress, and the original castle is there, which was sort of the fortress. And the Millennium Bridge moves so that the boats can go underneath it. And then there's the red bridge there that swings like that. So it's set for people, cars and boats to get through. But as you can see, everything's nice and compact. And then outside, you've got the suburbs, you've got big parks, you've got lots to see and do. But it's all nice and cozy and safe and compact. So Newcastle University is one of the best in the world. It's ranked 134th in the world, 46th, depending on if it's QS or Times. And we were one of the best in the UK. We're a member of the Russell Group, which you may have heard of. The Russell Group is basically like the Ivy League of UK universities, so top universities, yeah. And we're a founding member of that. In specific subject areas, we're one of the best in the UK for art and design. One of the best in the UK for agriculture. We actually manage and run our own farm. And we have a number of other courses, communicate media as well. We're really strong in those areas. So let's have a look at our subjects. So we have 3 faculties: Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, Faculty of Science, Agriculture and Engineering, and the Faculty of Medical Sciences. I won't go into too much detail about all of the programs, but from Humanities and Social Sciences, these are the subjects we cover: architecture, art, geography, modern languages, the business school. We have some interesting programs that a lot of Latin American students like, which is international business management. And normally our bachelors are only 3 years, but this year is 4 year, because in your third year you go to work or study abroad. So this was a student from Colombia, and he went to Madrid, and he worked for a big tech company in Madrid for 1 year. And the university helped him find that placement. So he's going to graduate with a fantastic degree from a fantastic university, but also a year's work experience at a big tech company in Spain, which has branches all over the world with loads of connections. So his CV just went up in its stock, shall we say, significantly. We have loads of interesting programs, some really modern ones, for example, like cybersecurity, game engineering, software engineering, environmental sciences, marine sciences. So we're by the coast. We actually have a lab on the beach. So that's something that's really special. And lots of different types of engineering programs as well. And we also have medical sciences too. If you're interested, now medicine is a difficult one. I'll be very honest with you. Medicine is a different one, but you have biosciences, which is a bit more achievable. To study medicine, you need a 38 in the IB. You need extremely high scores in all of your sciences, and you need to take a special exam to get in. And we only take about 20 to 30, I believe, international students. So it's quite difficult. But
very competitive.
If you were very competitive. But if you're interested in biomedical sciences, that is a lot easier and more straightforward. We will still ask for a good IB score, but it's a lot more straightforward to get in. Our Faculty of Medical Sciences is actually linked to the local hospital. So it's one of the few universities where the university faculty is in the hospital. I once got very confused and ended up because it is linked, and that's one of that hospital was voted one of the best in the world. It was one of the first places that they had COVID cases. The COVID cases happened in York. It was one of the first COVID cases in the UK, and they took them to that hospital. That isn't to scare you, but it's to show you that they have the best facilities.
Living in Brazil, COVID doesn't scare us anymore.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that's something that I wanted to mention about the UK and how we're operating. So we're kind of back to normal now in the UK, and we have for a while.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, exactly. I was wondering when to include that, so I'll mention that now. Yeah, we're kind of back to normal. I still wear a mask on the bus and in the supermarket, but there are no restrictions. You don't need to wear a mask. There's no one's asking you to wear a mask. Since July, all the nightclubs and restaurants, everything's been open. I went to an NFL game, American football game, last month, and there were like 65,000 people, no masks, no. So it's quite strange. Yeah, I think for people who arrived from Latin America this year, it's like they traveled back in time or forward in time when they got off the plane, because they were just like, and all our students have free vaccinations. We actually have a bus on campus, and if students haven't been vaccinated yet, they can just walk up to the bus. And
what about for international students who are traveling to the UK? They have to be previously vaccinated?
No, that's not a problem. So if you're not vaccinated, you would be asked to quarantine, but we used to have something called a red list, which wasn't very nice, and people had to quarantine.
Yeah.
Yes, very familiar with that. We've just said goodbye, luckily, to that list. So now you would just quarantine in your apartment, in your student accommodation. That's if you, obviously, we're hoping that next year none of this will be a problem.
I can speak for Positivo, which is our hometown. Teenagers are getting vaccinated, 13-year-olds and older. So hopefully by next year, things are going to look much, much better.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So this for us, we have students from all over the world arriving in September and August, and not every country was as advanced with the
Yeah.
vaccines. But when you pay for the visa in the UK, you already pay for your health cover. So you pay a fee which
For
covers your
NHS.
national, yes, NHS,
Yeah.
that's right. So vaccine free, visits to the doctor free, emergency ambulance hopefully never required, all free. It's really good. It's really good public health service, and it's completely free. So I know, for example, Mexico, the public health service is very difficult to work with, and the private health service is far too expensive. So I don't know if that's the same in Brazil, but most of us use the public health service and are happy with it.
For vaccination, we're using the public health system as well. Things started slowly around here, no vaccines, but then after a while, it just, started moving really fast, which was great.
Yeah.
So now
great.
we're vaccinating teenagers, 13-year-olds. I think it was the last group they called to the vaccination. So things are starting to look better. Yesterday was the first day that the state of São Paulo did not register a COVID death since the beginning of the pandemic. So
Good.
This is great news. Yes, this is great news.
That's good. We're all moving in the right direction, and Brazil's not a red list anymore. So technically, I could, if it was possible, get on a plane tomorrow and see you, and vice versa. So yeah, we're definitely heading in the right direction, and I think that's very reassuring. And so just to go back, so if you needed a foundation year, we have foundation programs. Actually, the person who works at the foundation program is from Brazil. I'm not sure exactly where she's from, but she's from Brazil. Yeah. So that's quite a nice connection we'll have there. So that means that students who didn't quite get the grades could still have an opportunity to join us. Normally, if you are going for direct entry, we're looking for about 32 to 38. It very much depends on the program. The max is 38, and that's mainly just for medicine. Some science-related programs may ask for science higher levels.
Yes.
Courses like business would not. They wouldn't specify.
Good.
And I just wanted to finally talk a little bit about the UK system, the UK education system, and some top tips for applying. So the UK system is very focused. So we do something called the A levels, which I just showed there. And we only study 3 subjects in our final years of school. And I'll find 4 and then 3 years of subjects, because we're kind of tailored to the idea that we already know what we want to study. So I did economics, business, and Spanish, and then went to university and studied international business management with Spanish. So we're kind of already geared to knowing what we want to do from an early stage. In the USA, I know that a lot of students go and then they kind of figure out later on what their major is. That just doesn't happen here. It is very much, what you want to do. So when you apply,
it doesn't happen here in Brazil either.
Okay.
Our system is more like yours.
So you know what you study, what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't change your mind.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah. So if you're applying, when you apply for UCAS, I'm sure Gabriella will be walking you through all of that. But you're only allowed to write one personal statement for all of your programs, which is again another thing. If you're going to study, it's going to be hard for you to, in one statement, explain that you want to study German, geography, Hispanic studies, and biosciences. It just doesn't work. So you need to show that you're focused. You need to show what you want to do. Another thing is, again, if you apply to a university in the US, you probably have written a nice essay. And in the UK, ours are slightly different. It's not, I've seen US essays and they're often very poetic, which is very nice, but that's not what we're looking for. We're basically looking for almost like a long CV. We want to know about you. So what have you been doing? Extracurricular activities. So are you a part of the sports team? Do you play music? Anything like that. Another one that I think is really important is what we call super curricular. So that's when you take your interests, your studies to the next level. Okay. Have you been to a particular museum recently that's specifically linked to what you're studying and what you want to study? Are there any books that you've read that you want to highlight? Oh, this author is, this author covers marketing and I want to study marketing, and something like that. Podcasts that you listen to, or podcasts that you've done yourself. Maybe you are head of the, I don't know, marketing society at your school, anything like that. We'll want to hear as well. So extra and super curricular activities. Why do you want to study this area? Remember, you can say, I want to study business, or I want to study economics, or something like that. But don't name the university for very obvious reasons. What do you bring to the table? So again, this is what we're asking for. That's why it's not an essay. What experiences have you got? What things have you done in the past? Who are you as a person? Because the UK education system is a melting pot of ideas and cultures, and we aren't just about you sitting at the desk and taking notes as the teacher writes stuff on the wall. It's about you coming along and giving us your ideas, and maybe you disagree with the teacher, and you know what? That's okay. You're allowed to debate. You're allowed to express yourself. And the people around you will be from all over the world. We have about 120 different nationalities on campus. So a lot of classes feel like UN meetings, and that's super important. So you, as a Brazilian student, what are you going to bring, and what can you provide? Someone from Saudi Arabia and someone from Brazil will have a very different idea of how to do a marketing plan, or design a newspaper or something like that. So what are you bringing to the table? And then last of all, you're studying for a reason. What's next? Why do you want to study this, and what are you going to do with it when you finish? Because my parents want me to go to university isn't what we're looking for. Because I want to set up my own business. Because I want to be the CEO of da 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 da. Because I want to be a journalist at the blah, 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 blah. That's what's next. Or maybe you want to be an academic, and you can be honest and say, after this, I'm doing a PhD or a master's and then a PhD, and I want to work with whatever it is. That's fine, but we want to know about what you're interested in next. And then check those entry requirements on a website. Once you find the right program, what are we looking for in terms of the IB score? Are we asking for any specific higher levels or standard levels? And if there's any specific subject areas, like I mentioned, if it's something like science, then there's probably that kind of requirement. So that's it. There's my email address. I hope I've covered everything that you wanted to know, but by all means, if you have any questions, feel free to type in the chat or wherever it is you want to put. Or Gabrielle, if you've got any further questions.
Yeah, so I was going to talk a little bit more about IB because it applies to our students, and it has been kind of an issue. From my understanding, from my experience, I know the UK universities have more strict requirements when it comes to the IB subjects. So, for instance, the medicine program you were talking about, besides being very competitive, you have to have biology higher level and chemistry higher level. Do you have any other programs that have very specific entry requirements as when it comes to the IB? Just so we can be prepared.
Well, what areas are you interested in?
Well, our students, medicine, we have quite a few of them interested in medicine, and it has become quite an issue for us because the school doesn't offer chemistry higher level.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, we're looking for alternatives and international foundation years. But your engineering, for example, do you have any specific requirements for that?
Okay, let me have a look. Okay, so is there a particular area in engineering? Because we have absolutely all sorts of stuff.
All sorts of engineering. Civil engineering is
Civil.
popular. Yeah.
That's a good example. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so civil engineering. I'll share my screen.
Okay.
Yeah, can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is just to give you an idea of how we. So basically here you could go onto our degrees and look for anything. I would normally just limit it to one word, or you can go to our A to Z and you can see we have loads and loads and loads of programs. So civil engineering, and then again we have loads of different options here. Civil engineering. So IB 32 points. So it's on the lower scale for the entry requirements. Here are fees. That's something that I would like to just mention as well. So our fees range from about about 18 to 26,000 pounds. The scholarships that we have available at the moment are up to 4,000 pounds, but we do have. If you were to do the Into route, Into has its own scholarships, which are worth, I believe, 5,000 or 10,000 for the first 2 years. So those are the options that we have. And if you got a 4,000 scholarship, that is 4,000 for every year. So if you go to requirements, okay, and then you click here. So 32 points with mathematics at high level grade 5. Yeah? Physics required at standard level grade 5, if not offered at higher level.
At higher level, okay.
So if you've got maths. Yeah, say that again, sorry.
No, you have that, that information for every program you offer. So if
exactly.
student is just browsing through the university's website, they can find that information. Absolutely,
we have nothing to hide. Everything is very clear. So let's just say I think this is yeah, let's go biomedical sciences. Let's see what we're looking for here. So 34 in the IB.
34, yeah.
Entry requirements. Right. 34 points with biology, or do you have biology at higher?
Biology, yes.
Okay, so 35 points with biology or chemistry, so that's good.
Okay.
And another science at high level, grade 5 or above. An example of those is maths, physics, psychology, and biology. So if maybe you did biology in physics, or biology in mathematics, or biology, psychology at higher level, grade 5. That's okay. And it says here, standard level chemistry and biology required at grade 5, if not offered at high level. So we could accept standard as well. So yeah, we're very very clear about what we're looking for there. It's very, very clear for you. And every course will be slightly different. So I just encourage you all just to have a look on the website where there's no secrets here. We're very looking for, and there's always the foundation as an option as well.
Yes. Yeah, we offer chemistry standard level, but I guess for the most competitive programs it has become a problem not having the chemistry higher level. For medicine, some universities were requiring for engineering as well. So we're just to see if we can offer it to our students to make their lives easier in that sense, so they can use their IB for applying.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, medicine is just it's difficult everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
For Brits, it's very hard, very competitive to get into medicine. We do tend to really encourage students to look at other options, not because we want them, we don't want any doctors in this world, but for them to be aware that there are other options in those fields.
Yes.
So yeah, it says here that, you'll be based at the School of Biomedical, Nutritional and Sports Sciences at the Faculty of Medical Sciences. It's next to RVI's hospital. It's an integrated teaching hospital complex, and it's one of the largest in the country.
So, is this a popular program at the university?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And again, it's one of those ones where maybe the student was originally considering medicine, but actually ended up going down the biomedical sciences route. It's not that you wouldn't be working in a hospital and your future. So this is a great demand for graduates in the biomedical and biomolecular sciences. A lot of graduates end up doing a further degree, PhD. So, and these are some of the subject area, some of the areas that former students have gone into. So clinical data research PhD students, clinical specialists, and then they go into a number of different fields. So pharmaceuticals, obviously a big one. So yeah, there's the employability that we have at the university, that's something we show off about as well, because we have, our students go on to do great things. We've got, and we have a career service as well. So if students wanted to get guidance and support for when they want to work in the UK, when they graduate, they can stay for the minute up to 2 years after they graduate to work. So that's something that they should definitely take advantage of and stay and work some time in the UK.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great opportunity.
Absolutely,
what about the language requirement? What exams do you require?
That's another really good question. So, okay. Oh dear. There we go. Okay. So we're normally looking for the IELTS 6.5.
Yeah. Okay.
And equivalent in 6. If you've done English IB, we can often accept that as well. I think it's normally a grade 5. English IB, again, you'll be able to find that out. When you apply, so you can apply now, and I strongly recommend you do so. I'm not sure the age of the people in attendance today, but if there are some who are considering next September, there is still time for you to apply. I recommend doing it before the end of January. We have an internal UK deadline of the end of January, but international students can still apply after that date. But if a course is full, unfortunately. So if you want to be considered and given a place based purely on your achievement and not on the number of spaces still available, then I recommend applying before then. And obviously, I'll put my you've got my email address. You can share it. If anyone has any more questions, I'd be more than happy to help. And it is a really special place. My little hometown, or not so little. It's a really special place, and it's somewhere that people will fall in love with. A lot of people from Latin America, my colleague from Brazil, and many more I've got a colleague from Mexico as well who came to study here and just never left. It's one of those cities, and once you're here, you're here forever. And it is a really, it's somewhere that maybe you've not heard of before today. Maybe you've heard of the football team, but I hope this has been a nice opportunity for you to learn more about it. And I really welcome any questions that you may have. And of course, I'll be happy to visit you when possible.
Yes, please. We'll be happy to host you. Yeah, so you can meet our students in person.
That would be lovely. I'd look forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, that will be great. Hopefully things will be safer next year.
Yes. Hopefully, maybe spring next year, we could do something. We'll see how 2020 was a surprise. 2021's been full of surprises. Let's see how 2022 is.
Yeah, it's not planning too much.
Exactly, yeah.
So you mentioned also the scholarships and financial aid opportunities. You mentioned a £4,000 scholarship
Yes,
per year?
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, 4,000. If you go through into this, you can get 5,000 or 10,000 per year. Off the top of my head, those are the scholarships that we have at the moment. One thing that is worth mentioning, so those fees are about the standard for most Russell Group universities in the UK, bar some in London. The difference is the cost of living. So the amount of money that you will save living in somewhere like Newcastle compared to living in London is quite a lot. And not just on rent, but also food, drink, and the fact that everything's walking distance. Another thing that is worth mentioning, and I think that's different in the UK, in the US, is that you can work whilst you study, and a lot of students do. So if you want to work in a bar or restaurant, coffee shop, or work at the university, we hire a lot of students ourselves.
And they support themselves.
Exactly. And the minimum wage is pretty good in the UK. Actually, I'm not sure, for 18-year-olds, probably about $9 an hour. So it's not bad if you wanted to just work in a coffee shop for a few hours a week and make an extra few pounds. And a lot of students do. That's very typical. I know it's different, maybe different cultures in different parts of the world, but in the UK, a lot of our students will get jobs because of all the bars and restaurants and shops. There's a lot of options out there. So that's always a good way. And then once you graduate, you can stay and work in the UK for at least 2 years.
2 years. That's good to know. They're always asking about, work opportunities after they graduate, if they can stay in the UK or in Europe, or it's good to know. Quite a few of our students have European citizenship, so I know it doesn't make a difference for the UK anymore because of the Brexit and now. But it could be an opportunity for them if they want to stay in Europe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, before Brexit, a lot of students would come with their European passports. I mean, they could still come to the UK, study in the UK. I'm not sure whether the visa is slightly different for European. I'm not sure. But of course, if once you have your status in the UK and then you wanted to travel and spend time abroad in Europe, then we're only an hour less, an hour to France and 2 hours to Spain. So it's a good base. London is sort of the center in the time zones. London is the center of the world almost. We are 0000, the time zone. So it's a very good place for, even things like working in the stock market. You're in the perfect area because in the morning you have people from Asia and in the evening you have people from America. So it's a really sort of special place, the UK. And if you've not been before, I really recommend it. It's quite unique. It's European, but also very not European. We drive on the other side of the road. Our plug sockets are like very strong voltage, so you don't bring a hairdryer, it'll blow up. You can drink water from the tap. The pubs are open all day long. There's a lot of things about the UK that are really unique and really special. And our royal family, for example, as well. So it's a really unique place. I definitely recommend the UK above other destinations. If anybody has any more questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Or if you want to send me an email, that's absolutely fine.
Ok. Let me just... então, se alguém estiver assistindo, tiver alguma pergunta para fazer para o Andrew, pode escrever em português, eu posso fazer a tradução para ele, fiquem à vontade. E qualquer coisa também posso entrar em contato, passar o e-mail dele para vocês, para que vocês possam conversar, tirar as dúvidas a respeito da universidade. So, Andrew, I have one more question about the accommodation. Do you have dorm rooms in the university? How does that work for international students?
Yeah, so we have, again, it's a bit different to the US. So everybody has their own room. I know in the US people share rooms. That doesn't happen. Everyone has their own room, and a lot of options have their own bathroom as well. You would normally be in a flat with between 4 to 7 people. So you would share the kitchen and living room area, but you would either share a bathroom with 1 or 2 others, or if you pay for the ensuite, which is what we call basically your own bathroom. We have accommodation options all over the city, but everything's about a 10-minute walk. And we even have catered options. So if you really hate cooking, you could technically, I wouldn't recommend that option, maybe for your first year, if you've just left home for the first time. But yeah, we have loads and loads of options for different budgets, for different styles. And we also have a lot of private accommodation as well, because I've mentioned we have 60,000 students. So there are a lot of private companies as well. So it doesn't have to just be with the university's accommodation. You can go to a private university accommodation provider. Again, and they're all really central. So get used to only having to walk 5 minutes to class from your home, and 5 minutes to all your favorite bars, restaurants, and shops and stuff. And that's something that I think is very special about Newcastle. Everything is at your doorstep.
Yeah. And what are your most popular programs? What are you known for?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, arts and media were third in the UK. So art programs were very popular. All our marketing business programs, we are a top-ranked business school. We have the Triple Crown accreditation, which means we're one of the best business schools in the world. So business is very popular, especially with students from Latin America. Business is really popular. We have fantastic law school, medical sciences because of the history of our medical school and the fact that it's linked to a hospital. That makes us very popular. Architecture as well is extremely popular. We have marine sciences because of the labs that we have on the beach, and many more reasons. Agriculture, we have our own farm. So yeah, I would say those, from the top of my head, those are the main ones. And then we have a lot of programs in the urban sciences schools. So data science, software engineering, game engineering, cybersecurity, courses that 10 years ago that you probably wouldn't exist, but now they are so relevant and so key to the way the world is in 2021. So those courses as well are very popular.
Yeah, that's good to know. Okay, do you guys have any more questions for Andrew? So I was just saying in Portuguese to them that if they have any questions, or if they want to contact you, that they can look for me.
Yeah.
They can ask any questions. They can talk to you anytime.
Absolutely, I'm here to help, and obviously I'll let you know when I'm able to visit, and then it would be great to see you all in person.
Yes.
Fingers crossed, maybe next spring. Let's see how it all goes.
Yeah. You've never been to Brazil, maybe you'll come.
No, exactly, and I'll have learned some Portuguese by then, which will probably help. So yeah, no, that'll be really nice to see you all. Look forward to that, and yeah, I hope Newcastle is where that you might be interested in. I think it's got it all. Like I've mentioned, you've got all the good stuff of being in a big city without any of the downsides. It's an affordable place. We're by the sea, and we've got loads of history, loads of culture. We have Harry Potter was filmed in a number of different locations very close to where we are. The Game of Thrones, the story of Game of Thrones, the wall was based on the Roman wall, Hadrian's Wall, that was built around the city to stop the Scots coming in. So a lot of history and culture. I think it's a really special place, and hopefully Newcastle United will be as big as Real Madrid in a couple of years' time as well. So that might help.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a few years.
Yeah, let's see where we are in a couple. Neymar scored a hat trick or something like that. We'll wait for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Andrew. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Talk to our students. I'm sure they'll be interested in the university. It's a great opportunity. Okay, and we hope you can come to Brazil soon to visit us in person.
I would love to. Yes, thank you very much. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.